Good afternoon, QFCC staff, esteemed guests, and each one of you who believe in the power of youth voices. Thank you for being here and to stand in this space with me. I want to begin with a truth that sits deeply within my story, because representation matters, and because for people like me, it hasn't always existed. As an Afghan refugee woman, I grew up hearing, but also seeing that people like me don't belong in the spaces that even influence their own health, well-being, and their lives. I thought that leadership did never look like me. I learned this from a very young age, from things that I saw and things that I heard. And that's why I'm standing here to speak about. To me, and many of us today, identity and culture is not just an abstract idea. It's more like a tree. Its roots deep, deep in the soil, unseen, but very, very vital. They anchor it during storms, nourish it during droughts, and connect it to something even deeper below the surface. To introduce myself, my name is Masoumeh, and I'm a passionate public health student at UQ and someone who believes that just because of where you are coming from does not determine how far you will achieve and how far you will go. And as someone who has grown up believing that her voice didn't matter in such spaces like these rooms, I'm here to prove that wrong. And guess where I am? I'm here anyway. For many of us, identity and culture, like I said before, are not just these abstract ideas. They shape our daily lives, our sense of belonging, and how we move through this world. Yet too often, they are misrepresented, dismissed, or misinterpreted. And when that happens, it doesn't just affect how you see us, but how we internalize it and view ourselves. I learned this firsthand in a moment where it should have been very exciting. One day I was scrolling through Facebook, which we all do it, I know, guilty. And I saw an offering of a potential course, a subject being offered on Islam. Something that for me felt like a rare opportunity to see my culture and my religion being represented in a space I would like to belong maybe one day, and that's academia. But as I scrolled, my heart really sank. A sarcastic comment mocked the course, and a wave of embarrassment just crashed over me. I thought to myself, is this how people still view us? It felt like my roots, my identity, were nothing but just a joke. But here's the thing about roots I mentioned earlier. They don't stop growing just because they're unseen. For young people like me, identity and culture are not just labels. They're our lifelines. Feeling safe, valued, and seen begins with our voices and our roots being acknowledged, our voices really heard, and our stories being respected. When culture and identity are celebrated, they grow into resilience, into confidence, and contribution we all want our youth to do and be a part of. That's why our education systems, and all systems in general, must go beyond tokenism, these little checklists, and reflect the true diversity of the people it aims to serve. This means embedding maybe cultural competency in care and actually valuing it and seeing the value in it. Reflecting the diversity of the people they own to serve and the promises that it makes through inclusion and diversity policies. And guess what? True participation is where the roots meet the surface. Let that sink in. It's not being invited to the table. It's not just that. It's knowing that your voice has value and it's being heard. Amplifying young voices is not just about representation, it's about responsibility. A responsibility that our stories can shape policies and inform decisions that will impact our own lives. The real question isn't whether we belong at the table, it's whether systems will make rooms, make space, pass the mic, and follow through on the promises of inclusion and diversity. Let us water these roots. Let us honor our differences, not just in our communities, but in our schools, in workplaces, in programs, in policies that it shapes, and these institutions. Because when inclusion is understood as it doesn't begin at the surface, because it starts deep in the roots, we understand that belonging is nurtured before it's even seen. This is the future many of us here would like to see. One where young people don't just survive, but they thrive. Thank you.